broken system, chained and tangled up in lies. Voices shouting, screaming in defeat. Politicians playing games under darkened skies. Hope lost in the dust of the street. Red and blue, colors pouring from the sky. Debates turn to anger, the crowd gets loud. Punches flying in the blink of an eye. Truth buried deep beneath the shroud. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Faces on the screen, flashing perfect teeth. But behind those eyes, just rotting greed. Politicians turn to whispers beneath. They all just get what they need. Whispering conspiracies, drowning in their lies. Echoes of freedom, lost in cries. Spin the wheel of fate, let's see who rise. But this game will bleed you dry. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive.
Reacting to what just happened.
Yeah, we
Good
don't like
morning.
those guys.
Yeah, no, they're fine. Although I do find it weird that we're doing the Las Vegas meetup over Easter weekend. I'm not sure anybody noticed that it's Easter, but that's officially announced now. But we're live now, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to the bullpen. I've got my filling in co-hosts with me, Slender Dad and Mad Cheesemo. How are you guys this morning? Besides very, very tired.
I'm not tired. You're tired.
I'm good.
Yeah, we didn't stay up way too late talking with Zax and arguing politics with Fowler or anything, did we, Mad?
Nope.
Nope.
I definitely didn't stay up for another 3 hours after that.
Were you that angry? Was it anger that kept you awake?
No, I had to. The girlfriend and I, we had to watch Severance and Yellow Jackets. Was, my God, the lesbianism in Yellow Jackets is just getting out of hand.
I haven't watched Yellow Jackets. My daughter does, but I didn't know it was for people our age.
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
This is really gay.
Yes, Eric, there's a Vegas meetup. I believe it's supposed to be officially announced today. It will be on April 17th.
Hey, isn't that Easter weekend?
Yeah.
I'm not going
Sunday,
because of Jesus.
the 20th is Easter. So, in fact, Garrett put out a tweet last night that was like, you know what we should do? We should play dodgeball. Just have a gigantic dodgeball tournament during the meetup. And I was like, yep, that sounds like a great way to spend our Easter Sunday together. So,
I mean, yeah. It's also my Alive Day.
April 20th?
Mm-hmm. 420, baby. I was literally smoking.
Yeah, you were.
Wow.
Well, should we just get into it with Zelensky and Trump? Do we want
Oh
to
no, what happened?
react to the clip or?
I mean, I guess we should probably react to the clip, but I have to imagine 99.9% of people have already seen the clip 10 times or more.
Well, I got
Yeah,
surprising news for you then, Slender. I haven't watched any of it.
Mad refused to do any homework.
I get it. I get what happened.
Do you?
Yeah. We were really mean to him, and we're like, "Why aren't you in a suit?" And he was like, "Because I'm Ukrainian," or something. I don't know.
You know, the suit, that was a ridiculous question. I don't know why that was even asked because Elon's never in a suit. So
Yeah, he's not a
nobody
world
pushes
leader,
back
though.
on that. Neither
Well,
is
Elon at
Zelensky.
least wears the sport coat, right? Like he's business casual.
True.
All right, so we'll play a little bit of it. I the last 9 minutes is where it got contentious. So I'm leaving off the first 40 minutes where Zelensky rolls his eyes repeatedly, is constantly shrugging and making faces while Trump is talking. Trump doesn't see it, but JD Vance sure did.
I like
And
JD.
talk tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I
he killed.
was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but-
right.
I wasn't here. If I had been, it wouldn't have happened. No, that was under Obama.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In
I've got to say,
2019,
whoever
I
did the closed
signed with
captioning
him the
did a
deal.
pretty horrible
I
job.
signed with him, Macron and Merkel. We signed
A ceasefire.
Ceasefire. All of them told me.
Maybe he's
that
just
you
doing
will
bad
never
with
go.
English.
We signed with him with gas contract.
That
Gas
is
contract.
also
Yes,
probably
but after
true.
that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking
So that's where Zelensky decided to start getting contentious, besides making faces the whole time. So all that was supposed to happen yesterday was, for the third time, he was supposed to come in and sign the agreed
Yeah.
upon, negotiated mineral rights.
Right. So what is all this nonsense?
This nonsense is him trying to renegotiate things in front of the American media and trying to secure the U.S. saying that they would protect Ukraine no matter what, which I think everybody online has said it, but that's just asking for World War III.
Well, he's trying to land a security guarantee that includes America potentially putting boots on the ground in the event that a ceasefire is violated. The
Right.
problem is, and this has always been the problem with this effing conflict since all the way back in 2014, it gets real foggy as to who started hostilities. Because everybody who's like, oh, Putin's invading us. Well, you've launched incursions into his territory as well, and no one can quite figure out who started this shit.
Oh, I think we know who started it. It was
I think
NATO
we do,
and
too.
Ukraine.
Well, I've said on numerous occasions the unfortunate fact in the matter is, as a part of NATO and knowing what NATO is and is supposed to not be, uh, we're essentially the aggressors in this particular conflict. We may not have been the first to aggress with kinetic attacks, but we have been political and diplomatic aggressors from the off.
Yeah, I mean, what Zelensky's not mentioning is that after all these things happened in 2014 under Obama, and then you had years where Trump was president, nothing happened because I think Putin was scared to death of Trump just being willing to do whatever.
Yeah, he had that beautiful button.
Yeah,
We've never seen a
it's the
button like
best
it
button.
before. Some say.
So once Biden got in, they almost immediately started trying to push for Ukraine to be in NATO, to be included in NATO. And the ceasefires that he's talking about, I mean, almost every treaty that we have been a part of, basically NATO would not push eastward. So Ukraine is as far eastward as you can get on the push, and that was supposed to be kind of like a demilitarized zone. Not really demilitarized, but it was a neutral zone between NATO and Russia. So trying to get Ukraine in is exactly what pushed Putin to do this. Again, don't like Putin, but I do think that Putin is doing what he felt is necessary to defend his country, because we've made this analogy before. It's just like when the USSR tried to put nukes on Cuba, we weren't real comfortable with that either over here in America. So, that's
Can we
kind of some of the
can we
history of it.
highlight Soul's comment? What do you mean we? Um, just not to like call you out
The
or anything, but
West,
a lot of people have said this. What do you mean we? We're part of NATO. We're even if we have nothing to do with the decisions NATO makes, we're guilty by association.
Yeah.
I
and if any
personally think we
country
should
in
leave
NATO
NATO
gets
and
that,
tell them screw off.
I think we should absolutely be leaving NATO and leaving the UN. But if any country that is part of the NATO agreement gets attacked, then we are required by the NATO alliance to put boots on the ground.
And
So,
the way it breaks down with who contributes the most, it would basically be us and 3 Canadians and maybe a couple Australians, you know what I mean?
and one of the 60
Oh,
tanks in Europe.
Yeah.
and whether we're on board with it or not, as part of NATO, if Ukraine gets added to NATO, and then NATO and or not NATO, but then Ukraine and Russia, their conflict continues. If they get added to NATO tomorrow, contractually, we're obligated to put boots on the ground and defend their territory,
Well, that would
Which
feel like
is
a
whether we agreed or not.
but that feels like a existing condition. Like, like with a medical thing. Like, I can't get medical insurance if I have, cancer. That
Yeah, but
feels
we've got
messed up.
Obamacare now, so you can.
We have a mutual defense accord with all members of NATO. So
Right, but
if Ukraine goes to war with Russia and Ukraine is part of NATO, we're contractually obligated to support that war, whether we
you're
want to or not.
you're roboting pretty bad now, but that's a
Sorry.
pre-existing, conflict. That
Doesn't
shouldn't
matter.
Yeah.
count. That shouldn't count. I'm just saying it shouldn't count, that's all.
It shouldn't, but I mean, that's exactly what Europe and Zelensky are asking for. They're not just asking for money anymore. They're asking to get them into NATO, which would automatically key up World War III. I mean, there's no other way of looking at it when you've got 2 nuclear powers obligated to fight each other. It's stupid, and that's why this whole thing with Zelensky is absolutely insane, that he came in and rather than taking the negotiated peace and giving us mineral rights, and we talk down Putin, and yeah, they're probably going to lose a chunk of land from Ukraine, but do you really want escalation at this point?
Oh, me personally? No.
I mean, any of us, but I think escalation of this specific conflict just turns into absolute. It does turn into World War III. I don't see another way that it plays out if you've got two nuclear powers going against each other.
Yep. And you already have North
About-
Korea and China pretty involved on that side.
Well, and that's the other thing. Zelensky is now kind of, from what I have read and seen, Zelensky is now trying to cozy up to China because he's basically said, well, screw the Americans after this meeting. I did like that the next day he went to the UK and
Yeah.
said essentially, well, if the US is out, then all of you European countries, I'm going to need $250 billion in the next couple of months. So can you guys get to work on that? And the guy's a grifter. He's an actor. He played a piano with his dick on stage. I don't know how people
Yeah, he's
don't
not all
remember
bad.
that.
It's not all bad. There's some good things, you know.
Yeah, Matt enjoyed that part of his presidency. But all right,
Okay,
let's
how's
watch
my
it.
level now? I turned down my gain because I think I'm clipping on the microphone.
You're sounding fine now. It's not roboting, so
Okay.
we'll let you know if it starts doing it again.
If I'm loud enough now, then this should be better.
Okay. All right, let's watch a little bit more of the fireworks.
About the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong-
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now,
True.
you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for.
Just real quick, Marco Rubio is in the corner of the. Marco, who is Secretary of State right now,
Yeah.
is in the corner right here. Look at his face. He's like, we negotiated everything, and it's all falling apart right now in real time.
If these cameras weren't on, I would come over this coffee table and strangle you.
Manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for
Have
trying
you
to
ever
bring
been-
an end to this
Have
conflict.
you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
will
of the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the
Look at Trump. He just looks over at him like, yeah, good
I
question.
tried to warn him. I said, JD's a bulldog. You don't want to show up in the suit. Don't disrespect him. Some say he's a bulldog. I love that's how he uses JD to just.
You're talking about my boy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. You do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Yeah, but the other thing is Zelensky asking JD Vance, who's actually been to war, do you know what it's like in Ukraine? It's like, well, we see a lot of propaganda coming out where you're painting, dirt and blood onto people's uniforms to make it look a lot worse than it is. I'm sure there are areas where it is pretty bad, but everything has. I mean, you guys remember what was it the Ghost of Ukraine or the Ghost of Kiev or whatever? In the beginning, they had that pilot that they were saying was an ace pilot that was shooting down everybody. Turned out to be nothing.
Yeah, I remember.
Complete lie. They still don't admit that the Azov battalion is just a whole bunch of actual Nazis. I mean, yeah.
destruction of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even
What-
you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
What
I
are we going
don't
to feel
know
in the
that it's-
future?
Apparently, we're going to be attacked next because all we've got stopping Russia is an ocean. I don't know that coming in and threatening us is the best move when you're begging us for money and soldiers.
It's a bold move, Cotton, but let's see. Let him cook. Let him cook, as the kids would
Apparently,
say.
he doesn't realize that when Russia started running out of money, the first thing they stopped maintaining was their navy. because the Navy is the most expensive branch of the military.
Yep, you're roboting a little bit again, but still understood you.
You don't
Okay.
know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not
you
have a
gotta-
war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve. Don't tell us what we're going to
That
feel.
almost feels like Trump's like, I got to get in here too. I can't let it just be JD. Like, I need to do. So he's like, I'm just going to jump on the first thing he said.
Yeah, I
that's
Trump
think.
just
great.
didn't like the way he was talking to his boy.
Yeah,
I like these two together, JD and Trump. They complement each other very well, in my opinion.
It was an interesting meeting.
That's
exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel
I'm-
very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
Kick
You've
him out.
allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
Stop
Not
talking
in a
over
good
the president,
position.
you.
You don't have the cards right now.
And that's where it is. You don't have the cards. We hold all of the cards. All he was supposed to do was put on a suit, come in, sit down, take some questions from the media, and then have lunch. And
But
Zelensky
Brahma,
couldn't do it.
But Brahma, that's what he always wears when he meets world leaders. He's
I
at
know.
war.
Yep, he's very good at Halloween costumes.
Ugh.
He just wears one every single day.
With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What you're
You're
thinking about.
gambling
He
with
doesn't-
World War III. And what you're doing is very
What, man?
Ukraine is not high enough on the hierarchy of world powers to talk over the president like that. You know what I mean?
Technically, nobody is. I mean,
True.
I mean,
But
maybe
I
you
also
could
don't
say Xi or Putin, but even then, no.
I don't think they would either. Yeah, definitely
As
not
it relates
France. Fuck them.
specifically to this particular engagement, too, it's like, Ukraine, you have nothing to offer us. Like,
Mm-mm.
we don't need anything you have. We're trying to create an economic tie to you so that you do have something to offer us. And you're like, nah, brah.
Yeah,
Well, and that's the whole thing with this whole security guarantee. The security guarantee, if you do the mineral rights deal, is that we were going to be doing the exploration and the mining of all materials, which does put a U.S. presence there, which means Putin would be very stupid to attack where American civilians or contractors are.
right.
So that was the unspoken guarantee in my mind. Apparently Zelensky is too dumb to understand that you're going to have Americans on the ground doing this mining. You're not going to have this issue. The ceasefire will hold because there's not a chance in hell Putin wants to get involved with American civilians and contractors and then have America come in and stomp them.
No, it's we all know what's going on. Zelensky doesn't want us to end this war. He wants us to fight this war. That's the goal here. And if he gets security guarantees, he can then launch those very secretive incursions into Russia. Get in there, America.
You're roboting pretty bad.
Yep. And like Ghosh said, I don't think it's sunk in yet that Trump isn't Biden. Yeah, I believe it's probably a situation of Zelensky came in and was like, can you please bring back the old man who I have all the blackmail on his son? Because every time I came here when he was in here, you guys just cut me a check. And he doesn't have anything to hold over Trump. So it's not going well for him.
disrespectful to the country, this country.
Hey, Vex.
That's
With
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
Where
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of
you're
America
speaking about.
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please.
True.
You think that If you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking.
Ooh.
Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a minute.
answer?
No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President. We are
Ooh,
staying in
watch that
our
tone, bro.
country,
You better
staying
take that
strong
bass out your
from the
voice.
very
I don't know why I'm
beginning
getting
of the
mad like
war
he's
with
yelling at me,
Putin.
but it feels like he's yelling at me.
He's being disrespectful to the office and trying to litigate this stuff on national TV in front of the American media. So yeah, I think it was fantastic that they had this this airing on TV because it shows just how ridiculous Zelensky is, and he is living in a fantasy world. He literally thinks that they can win the war against Russia, and that's not happening. There was never a chance that Ukraine is going to defeat Russia without everybody else actually getting involved. And nobody cares enough about Ukraine to get involved in that way. Real quick, Pinochet's helicopter tours for $5 over on Rumble. The United States has dirty hands. Evil people like Susan Rice and Victoria Nuland initiated a color revolution in 2013. That happened and they are guilty, period. Should they be extradited for trials? Actually, Susan Rice and Vindman have been on TV over the past few days talking about how they actually met with Zelensky prior to this meeting and told him to get aggressive with Trump and not to accept the deal. So you've got Democrat operatives that are literally trying to sabotage this whole thing. And I think that that should be looked into. Maybe Pam Bondi, after she gets the Epstein files taken care of, can be looking into that as well.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, we might talk about it a little bit. Depends on how long we go on Zelensky. But
fucking the GOP. What was the subcommittee?
The one that Anna Paulina Luna. Oh, yeah, I don't know. That was
Jim.
I'm not sure who,
Jordan's
who did the
people.
actual.
Yeah, but that's just so embarrassing.
The oversight committee.
Yes. How?
Yeah, that's Generation Z crazy kid thought it would be funny. So not a good look, but
no, a heart is just giving the other side ammunition.
Yeah, that whole day was not a good look.
No.
But we'll go into that in a little bit because some of the people that were there have come out and kind of said, even Nick as a guest on Friday Night Tights was talking about what actually happened with all the influencers. So we'll go over it because there is a little bit more to the story.
There's.
And we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't been
this
allowed.
cabinet.
You haven't been allowed.
This
We
cabinet.
gave you through this stupid president $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military. We didn't have our military equipment.
Stop.
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe less.
In 2.
Wait, what?
He said in 3 days. I heard it from Putin. So now you're being petulant on top of being disrespectful.
Yeah, that's really stood a chance. It is amazing that it has gone on as long as it has because we're at 3 years now. But that's literally because the U.S. has been funding the whole thing.
Also, a quick side note. I know I've got robot voice. There's nothing I can do about it. My ISP has cut my upload speed by about 75%. I don't.
I'm sure
70% of
that. Well, that's generous, but I'm sure
ISP is throttling him.
Yeah, I have no upload. Like my download speeds are fine, but my upload speeds are about 25%.
Okay, well, we're understanding most of what you're saying.
And if anyone else mentions it in chat, that's an automatic ban.
Yeah, I'll swing that hammer, damn it.
You know Slender likes to ban.
2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go.
Do you like how he threw in? I said thank you to the American people.
Yeah. I mean, Vance just asked him to say thank you during this meeting, and
No, he
just
didn't
accept
he-
the deals.
No, I don't think it was that he wasn't asking him to say thank you. He said he was just pointing out you haven't said thank you during this whole meeting.
Right.
It was an observation more than a request.
Yeah. And then the left kind of ran with that and was putting out all the videos of Zelensky saying thank you to the Americans over the last 3 years. But that wasn't what JD said. He said in this meeting. So, I mean, parsing words, but
rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't,
you're
please,
running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than any.
I want guarantees. And that's exactly what you're not going to get. It doesn't make any sense for us to make guarantees that puts us boots on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Eric K for $1.99. Slender, try streaming through your phone. It works.
Slender, do not do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Pinochet for another $1 over on Rumble. We are not required to act under Article 5 if NATO or a NATO country initiates the conflict. Except that in this case, Russia technically did initiate the conflict, even though we're saying it was the actions of NATO that provoked him into doing it.
Yeah.
But Zelensky just cannot shut up. I mean, he has to argue this whole
Yep.
time. He's talking over him at every point.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was with
wasn't
a guy named Biden who was not
Hmm.
a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the.
He
javelins
loves
to
that
take
line,
out all
doesn't he?
those tanks.
Which one?
Obama gave you sheets and I gave you javelin.
Right.
I don't know who fed him that one, but he really locked onto it. He's like, "Oh, that's a good line. Some say it's the best ever."
I'm going to use it. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge.
Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
This statement,
You gotta be
who
more thankful.
I don't know who
Because
stated
you
it,
don't have the
but he was a genius. Oh, it was me.
Little Marco Rubio once said.
cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Vice President.
Who is this speaking up? Are we
so
supposed to be taking questions?
Before this all started, they were already taking questions from the press. That's what set this off. That, along with some idiot asking why he's not in a suit. Sure, he should be in a suit, but I mean, who really cares? Elon has been in the White
that came
House
from
without a suit
the
many
press
times.
pool. That came
Yeah.
for the press pool. Oh, see the way it was painted to me, because I haven't watched this. The way that it was painted to me through what I've seen is that JD's just like, hey, out of apropos of nothing, why aren't you in a suit?
No, it was press that asked why he isn't in a suit. It wasn't JD.
Well, that changes a lot of it. I mean, I was already on his side just by default, but now.
Yeah, I mean, the first 40 minutes, Trump and Vance tried to be somewhat nice, and Zelensky spent the whole time rolling his eyes every time they were talking. So, I mean, that's really what set off JD, I think, because Trump wasn't watching Zelensky while Trump was talking. So every time he was rolling his eyes or huffing and puffing and throwing a fit in the corner, everybody else in the room could see it, but Trump wasn't looking directly at him. So
Yeah.
that's what got Attack Dog, JD Vance, to come out, I believe.
By the way,
Tough deal to make.
Yeah.
good on the press pool for not trying to interrupt what was happening. They were just like, "Oh, this is amazing." Everyone can sit back and watch.
Well, and that was what was hilarious about Trump saying, "I've let it go on this long just so
Yeah.
that everybody can see, because I could have shut it down at any time." Pinochet for another $5 over on Rumble. Thank you, sir. Ukraine disaster was globalist last-ditch effort to stay alive. They were trying to collectively guilt the people. Now is when Trump should be calling for a final solution to the globalist equation, or the globalist question.
He probably should use different language.
Right? And I probably should have read it before.
because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right
What are
now,
you
but
saying?
what if
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if
What
a
if they-
bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They
Oh,
respect me.
Trump is
Let
on
me
one,
tell
huh?
you, Putin went through a
Yeah. But he's right. Putin has never done anything with Trump in the White House. He saw weakness in Obama. Obama kept drawing red lines and then letting people cross him.
Well, that's how those
So he took
work.
Crimea.
Hey, Brahma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just checked the outage map. Apparently, there's an issue in my area, so I'm just going to back out to the chat.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging with us while you could.
Yeah, there's so
you
many
sound
things I want to
fine
say,
now.
and I can't say them because every time I start talking, I go robot. So
You go robot after about the first sentence. Yeah. I don't know why it does it that way, but
yeah, there's some
we'll highlight your chats if you want to say things in chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work. Talk to
Don't
you
worry,
guys soon.
All right.
See
Later,
ya.
Slender.
Don't
Go
worry,
check
my
out
arrow.
Slender's channel, Ascendant Arcade, and also hang out with us on Friday nights at Ascendant Art, where Slender is the co-host with Little Chad. So, but yeah, Trump is completely correct here. The whole thing of the ceasefire is we're the ones negotiating it, and it's Trump negotiating it, not Biden, who literally lets everything happen. We're arguing from power, not from the weakness that we have when the Democrats are in office and in control of the government. So
hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused
Who
of
is
all that
he in
stuff.
this? Isn't he in this?
All I can say is this. He might have.
I'm not sure. I got a little bit lost there.
I'm pretty sure that the he's talking about.
I think he is the he. I think maybe he's just that pissed.
Yeah. He's definitely pissed.
Might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make it.
Yeah, chat saying Putin is who the he is.
Oh,
A deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is.
But I don't think Putin had anything to do with the 51 intelligence agents or intelligence
yeah. He was saying that
signing off
he had
on
to deal
the
with
Hunter
it.
thing. Yeah. Maybe he's trying to say that they've turned Putin into a bigger boogeyman than he actually is. Because they basically made up all this stuff during the Trump era, trying to make Russia the enemy at every turn.
That thread. Yeah, I lost the thread on that one just a little bit.
Yeah.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And
To be a tough
I
guy.
don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
You'll fight it
We'll
out. I'll
fight it
put
out.
both of you kids in a room. You and Putin in a room. You can figure it out. Fight it out. I'm done.
Don't have the cards, but once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful.
Poor
And that's
Rubio
not
over
a
there,
nice
like,
thing,
yeah,
I'll be
we
honest,
told him
that's
all
not a
of
nice
this.
This was already done. It was a done deal.
Why would you do this to me, Zelensky? It makes me look bad. Because, he went to Trump. He's like, the deal's done. Everything's good. All we got to do is sign it. And then he shows
Well-
up with this attitude.
But that's the thing. This was the third time that Zelensky has agreed to this deal on the mineral rights and then not signed. And this time he demanded that he gets to come to the White House to do it in person. So this whole thing was set up. Zelensky never had any intentions to sign it. He
That doesn't sound
literally,
like it, no.
I think again, Susan Rice, Vindman, all of those people were actually in his ear telling him, stand up to Trump and he'll back down and you'll get your way. But that's not how you deal with Trump ever. I mean,
Ever,
that's
no.
ever. I mean, the art of the deal, the only thing he hates worse than being lawfared against is somebody agreeing to a deal and backing out of it, especially on national TV and being a little bitch about it like Zelensky is. Wanted to thank Jamalama for becoming a member.
All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? This is going to be great television, I will say that.
I love that Trump is he always has the mind of the ratings. He's like, even he's completely pissed. And look at JD. JD's like, yep.
Yeah, JD's doing his Jim from The Office face. Let me look over at the camera.
It's awesome.
Let's see if they show Rubio.
Wait, who somebody said I need the back of his head?
That's what it captioned.
We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you, sir. I know this is
And I need the back of this.
We'll see. I don't
I need the back of his head.
I don't know. Zelensky thinks he did a good job there. Look at Rubio. Oh.
Where was he? I think I
So-
missed him.
Rubio?
Yeah.
He's on the couch right next to JD. Right here at the end. Oh.
Hold on.
It doesn't want to.
I'll full screen it here.
Yeah. Rubio just doesn't look real thrilled with everything that happened. He knows everything fell apart. So the other thing that happened right after this, all that was supposed to happen during this meeting was they were supposed to take a few questions. They were supposed to sign the deal, and then they were going to have lunch. So lunch was out in the hallway. And apparently after this meeting, Trump basically sent Zelensky out of the White House altogether. They didn't have lunch.
Why?
They didn't have lunch. Trump gave the lunch to the press staffers and said, "Here, this is for
No.
you guys now." So, yeah, he literally had the press eating Zelensky's lunch.
Don't worry, it's not Ukrainian food. I ordered out.
So,
It sucks, dude.
oh, it's trying to play again in the background. Okay, sorry, but yeah,
At least Ukraine gave us Loma.
gave us what?
Loma.
What is that?
Lomachinski. He's
Okay.
one of my favorite boxers of all time. Actually, when this started, he was supposed to be fighting to unify the lightweight belt, but instead went to Ukraine to fight. He gave up millions of dollars and the chance to unify the belts to go fight for Ukraine. And when he came back, he wasn't the same. You can see it in his eye when he came back, but
Yeah.
Vasily Lomachenko, man, he would have been so great if he didn't have to keep going up in weight class because nobody wanted to fight him. He just got to that point to where everybody was too big.
Yeah. Well, Matt has taken us off into a side tangent.
He's Ukrainian. It's related.
I'm just trying to find the video of Vindman, because he flat out admits that they essentially violated the Logan Act. And
the redneck in tears
pertains
video.
to Pinochet's helicopter tours for another $1. Dem operatives violated the Logan Act. Yep, Susan Rice, Vindman. I don't know how Vindman keeps being involved in anything. It's insane that he has any say in the government at this point. I think it's the Vindman that's the lieutenant colonel, not the one that was running for office.
Yeah. Shifty, I've seen that video of I don't know where I saw it, but you've seen it, Brahma, the redneck where he's crying like, this man.
Oh, yeah. Well, we watched it last night, didn't we?
Oh, is that when we watched it? I didn't just know I saw it.
Yeah, the guy crying because Zelensky is such a hero. It's hilarious because everybody is comparing Zelensky to Churchill now, and absolutely insane to be. There are Democrats out there now calling him the leader of the free world. It's like, no, Zelensky is a bad actor who they've been laundering money through his country for decades now. They even tried to impeach Trump over Ukraine when it really wasn't Trump that was the problem. It was Biden making calls and saying that you had to pull prosecutors that were looking into his son's business dealings with Ukraine.
That's the same as and I hate it just as much when someone's like, "Oh, looks like the Detroit Lions are the new America's new team." No, there's only one America's team, and it's the Cowboys, and it always will be.
Yes, the Broncos.
See what I'm saying?
Pinochet for $5 over on Rumble. Putin is an a-hole. We get it. Obama, Mueller, Hillary all worked together with Putin to sell uranium-1 to Russia and Rosatom. This all started because Putin spilled the beans on uranium-1 in Burisma. Yeah, we all remember the deal when Hillary was Secretary of State. She sold a ton of our uranium. And I think we all remember in the debate with Obama and it was Obama and which run was it? But in the debate, they were talking about Russia being a threat. And Obama said, yeah, the 80s called and would like its foreign policy back. It's like, and ever since then, they have been crying about Russia at every turn. I think I found the Vindman clip. So let's play it real quick. This was on either CNN or MSNBC, one of the crazy propaganda channels.
I disagree with everything that the lieutenant colonel has been saying. I'm just some simple Indiana boy, but when I watched this event today, I want to know why our ally is allowed to disrespect the United States of America, the leader, the current leader of this free
J.D.
world.
Vance owns.
But let me
Zelensky an
finish.
apology. President Trump owes Zelensky an apology for the way he's treated.
For what?
I demand it.
What?
I demand that they give.
You demand. Okay, so UN resolution number 2.
If you're going to go ahead and say
Oh,
preposterous
boy.
things like Zelensky owes an apology for being attacked, I'm going to go ahead and say something outrageous. Actually, I'm going
If
to go
the
ahead.
price of you say
I
that
think these
Ukraine
guys.
wants
I think
peace.
J.D.
Hold
Vance
on,
should
hold on.
resign. How about that?
Hold on.
We're just going to go throw crazy stuff into the
you
air.
say Ukraine wants peace.
Yeah.
If Zelensky wanted peace, then he would have kept his mouth shut.
He did until there were
Okay.
lies.
What?
Until
Wait,
there were
what
lies.
was the lie?
He did until there were
We're
lies.
talking about not a dictator.
That wasn't.
That's not what he
Who
was
said
responding
that
to.
today?
That's not what he was
No one
responding
said
to.
that.
He was
No one said
responding
that.
to.
Oh, boy.
Vindman, yeah, absolute psychopath.
I demand it.
I demand it, and JD should resign. Pinochet over on the Rumble side again for $2. Trump, Vance, and Rubio must have known Dems talked to the cokehead prior. They clearly knew this was going to happen. I think they egged him on. And I think there's been plenty of evidence that has come out in the past couple of days of that they egged him on and told him not to accept what Trump was selling. And then we've seen what Europe has been doing as well. We'll talk about that a little bit. But Mad Cheesemo for $5 on the YouTube side. Speaking
like
of
this guy.
boxing, what does Mad think about Davis versus Roach fight from last night?
Well, I'm glad you
Since
asked.
chat asked.
I'm glad you asked. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to hijack the show, but yeah, it did show a lot of holes in his games, and that knee that he took was after a punch and was definitely a knockdown. Should have counted. He should have lost. That's it.
So yeah, let's get into the Epstein thing a little bit, because there
Oh, no,
was a
what
little bit
happened?
more background to it. Well, a whole bunch of nothing. I don't know what Pam Bondi was thinking, giving out the binders full of information that we already had.
Yeah,
for
this whole
years.
thing is just sloppy.
Very bad look. But from the words of some of the influencers that were there, they were invited to meet with Caroline Leavitt. They were all invited, called to the White House, nothing to do with Epstein.
Yep.
They were invited to meet with Caroline about her initiative to get some more of the alternative press in, and influencers and podcasters in to ask questions at the White House, that kind of stuff. So they're all there. They end up in a 3-hour meeting where they end up meeting everybody.
Yeah.
Trump came into the meeting. RFK
Cache.
came into the meeting. Kash Patel came into the meeting. Pam Bondi came into the meeting at the end, and that's when they got the binders.
Mhm.
She basically said, hey, this is some of the information that we're going to be putting out. So the meeting ends, and they go outside, and the press pool.
Before that, though, they were told there was an embargo, like a 3-hour embargo or something, right? So that Pam and them could preemptively explain kind of some
so
things
that
about
they could
what was
put out the same information that was in the binders to the rest of the media, so that it wasn't favoritism. But they walk out. Yeah, they walk out, and the press pool is out there, and see all of these, conservative influencers, if you want to call them that. I like some more than others, but they all start taking pictures. So, all the influencers start kind of rubbing it in their faces that, hey, we got all this information, and we've been meeting with everybody for the last 3 hours, and we're kind of
no idea
rubbing it in their faces. Yeah, no idea what was in the binders yet, because they were told that they were getting the information on Epstein, which there may have been one page that was different than what was already out there on the internet.
Maybe.
I think one of the last couple pages.
Yeah.
So all around a bad look. They've handled the Epstein thing so poorly, because they really should have done what they were doing with JFK and RFK, and basically said, yeah, we've ordered that this information needs to come out, and it'll be a situation where in the next 60 days or whatever, that's the timeline for us trying to get this information out, because we have to protect, the actual victims of this, as we're bringing out all the people who should have been charged. So Jaffo Chad isn't here because Chad is on vacation. He's ending his 2 weeks of vacation.
Absurdly long vacation. And by the way, before you ask, yeah, it was with his family. Who does that? I get taking 2 weeks if you're by yourself, but you're going to bring those people along with you? That's ridiculous.
That's fine.
Anyway, but I was going to say, so I have issues even before all of this, because Pam, I can't remember her last name, but I remember Pam. Yeah. Looks great for 60. My God. Anyway, so 60. She, the day before or whatever,
praising a woman on her.
It's a new me. It's a new me. Remember, it's a new channel, a new me. New channel. Subscribe. So she was talking about how you won't believe all the information. I know I was about to do Trump with her. You'll never believe it. But no, she was talking about all the information she had or whatever. It's all on her desk. She should have known beforehand that there was shit being held from her, or that it wasn't anything new that she was giving. I don't know how she was surprised.
Or that 120 pages could not possibly make up the
whole that's what I'm
investigation into Epstein.
It was on her desk.
Yeah, she comes off probably looking the worst out of this because she also immediately went and threw a fit to Kash Patel and wrote an email to him saying, I know we're in agreement that this needs to come out, but your FBI is not doing what they need to be doing and not giving me what I want. And she even admits in it that Kash didn't have any idea. He was just as surprised that they didn't hand over everything because Kash has only been there for like a week.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for him. He's like, it's my second day.
I just got here. What the hell, woman? And Bongino's not there yet. He's not starting until I think the 15th of March because he's still doing his radio show up until the 14th, and that's when he's going to transition over. The timing of it was just dumb. I mean, it was a unforced error, stupid misstep that they made. So
unnecessary, man. Just these unnecessary L's that they're taking. And then Jim Jordan and the oversight committee was like, oh, you want to see something ridiculous? Check out what we're gonna do. This will go over well. I don't know who you're trolling out of that.
Oh,
what I said?
Yeah, about the Rickroll.
Yeah,
on Twitter. Yeah.
If you're gonna have a Gen Zer or whatever whoever is in charge of the media, there should be some type of adult that has to check before you tweet it out. Like, no, dummy, this isn't the kind of thing we're gonna Rickroll.
Yeah, I mean, so Democrats have to tell their staffers, hey, can you maybe not have gay sex in the Senate chambers? Republicans need to maybe have a sit down chat with ours and be like, no Rickrolling. We're the government. We don't use Rick rolls on Twitter. Stupid.
Yeah, as much fun as it is to see Trump and JD, they're when others try to be them, it doesn't work the same because they don't understand how to do it. And I had a similar thing when I was a cop. You may not believe this, but I was a little sassy, a little sarcastic at times with people, right? If you could believe that. But other people, especially newer guys, right? They would try to do me, and it would always end up horribly. They're like, I don't know how you do it. You say the most absurd things to people, and people just nod along. I'm like, well, don't try to be me. I think there's too many people trying to be Trump, trying to be the funny politician.
Yeah.
But they're doing it wrong because they're not funny. If that makes sense.
Right. Well, a lot of people think they are funnier than they actually are. And when you're trying to imitate somebody else's version of comedy instead of thinking it up on your own, it doesn't often turn out right.
Yeah, the Rickrolling thing is absurd.
Jaffa was asking about Dellinger gets to keep his job at OSC. Will it go to the Supreme Court? Little Chad has answered him in the chat because Little Chad knows a little bit more on this than I do. I'm not aware of what's going on there. 100% it'll go to the Supreme Court. She botched the Article 2 analysis. So there you go, Jaffo. Yes, Goj. For a few minutes or a few hours there, they literally did a Rickroll on the Epstein list. And it was from one of the actual congressional Twitter accounts. So not a good look. Very bad.
Very bad. It just for no reason. And this always happened. Like with Lindsey Graham after the Wade Roe versus Wade, he comes out, he's like, now we're gonna do it, now we're gonna ban it nationwide. Why are you saying this right now, Lindsey? Why are you actively trying to undermine every time, man? They just can't. I don't know what it is about the Republicans, but any win that they get, they're like, ooh, you know what we should do? Blow this up.
Yeah. It was hilarious watching Lindsey Graham come out and basically tell Zelensky, no, you're done.
Yeah.
We're done with you. Just a few weeks ago, he was saying how Zelensky is one of the people that he looks up to most and is a bastion of,
one of the people he
the
looks
West.
up to most. I always find it odd when grown-ass men or like he's my hero, or like, oh, you know who I really. It's just weird to me, man.
Yeah. I'm paraphrasing Lindsey Graham.
Oh, I know, but it still bothers me.
Trying to think of what else happened
You got a
besides
$5
Epstein and this.
Rumble
Okay.
thing.
Pinochet for $5. You folks don't understand. What AG Bondi did was admit the FBI and SDNY have been sitting on evidence. Not releasing it to AG now corrupts that evidence. No clients or elites can be indicted now. I'm not sure that there was ever going to be anybody indicted. We all wanted that, but if they were just going to release the client list either way, I don't know that you could have really done anything. If you put all those names out there, you're just tainting any jury pool.
I also think that people should probably tamper down their expectations of what possibly could be released, because if it is people trying to cover things up, they're not going to keep all of the list and the evidence and everything like around. When you cover things up, you usually destroy evidence, not like, oh, we shouldn't let this get out there, so let's keep it for a rainy day. Maybe, I mean, you know what I mean? I think whatever the most damning part of the investigations were, they're not anymore, and you're not going to find them.
Yeah.
This is not how you cover up crimes.
Yeah, I would be shocked if the FBI hasn't already deleted most of what everybody would consider very interesting on who would be on the list. I don't know what we're actually going to find out of the JFK files and RFK files either, except that the government was likely involved.
Oliver Stone's already done a movie. There's nothing left to to find out about the JFK thing.
Yeah,
it was.
Go ahead.
No, it was, what's his name? Oswald? What's his name?
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. That's what we know. I either want to know about. I want to see them focus in other areas other than like what other 70 year old case can we release. If it ain't from Roswell, I'm not interested. That's the only thing from back then that it should be released.
I think they, like little Chad is saying, I think it is going to show that there was some connections to multiple government agencies.
But we already know that
not
too.
Just, I know, but we need to know which ones, because I think most of us on the right are ready to completely dismantle the CIA and FBI and start from scratch. And you need something to fuel that, because the rest of the American people have.
Do you think that's going to do it
with some of these things? I don't know.
Like,
it
hey,
depends
something
on what's
from
actually in those files.
I don't know, man. That's so long ago. There's been such a massive turnover of who is in those positions that it doesn't it's not going to make that make
but
sense.
It does show that we were all correct to be questioning those government agencies. I mean, it is what actually proves out that everybody was right to not be trusting them, because they have been actively working against the American people.
I get that also, but there's always another side to it, and that side is some of these people we shouldn't like give that confidence to. You know what I mean? There's some people out there with some crazy conspiracies. If they hear they're right about one thing, then they're going to think they're right about everything, and it's just going to embolden them.
Yeah. And there's a lot of crazy conspiracies out there, but a lot
Name
of them
7.
have come true.
Yep, flat Earth. What else?
Your
we got?
favorite? Yeah.
Space is not real. That's another good one. That kind of goes into flat Earth.
That's part of flat Earth, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you don't believe space is real, then you're not going to believe that the Earth is round.
Yeah. Bush sent a couple of memes to show.
Yeah, I looked at my DMs because I'm not hosting, so I could have looked very easily, but he didn't send them to me.
I was looking at them. I just hadn't presented them yet.
I just wanted to point that out.
I mean, it doesn't really fit this show to be talking about Kathleen Kennedy, because that's what every other show does. Nothing, apparently. Somebody said that she's gone, and everybody ran with it, and then turns out, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy's not gone.
I feel bad for this. Let's say that there is this metaphorical, like hypothetical YouTuber. We'll call him Cock Doom, right? And for years, he's been saying that that Kennedy was going to be fired and gone, right? Hypothetically. And then finally the news comes out the other day that it's happening. The joy, that jubilation of like, yes, I've been proven right. I'm Cock Doom. And then the next day it comes out like, no, not exactly. But I'm back down here for that hypothetical person.
I do think she's probably stepping down from Lucasfilm
Of course she is.
when she's done at the end of her contract at the end of this year.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't just go into another position where she's still in charge. Well, it's Trump is literally Hitler Day again.
That's true.
Every day of the year. Nope. That's not the screen I'm supposed to be showing.
I don't care for people seeing the back
layer. Yeah. We'll show everybody a peek at the backstage.
Everybody forget what you saw.
Yeah. I think Michelle was going to join us, but I don't know that she's still coming in from Force of Light. Just to make you mad. Yeah.
It's a new me and a new channel, Matt's new channel on YouTube.
That's true. I'm going to link your channel in the chat real quick so everybody can go sub to you.
Yep, because Tuesday we're going to be talking about Talking with Ghost, and the girlfriend is going to make her first appearance on the new channel.
Yeah, little Chad. I think Matt is talking about the Joy leaving Mike Zero.
Yeah. Rob, I'm not talking about Doomcock. I said a hypothetical YouTuber named Cock Doom. Totally different.
So yeah, the big thing was Zelensky. We could still talk a little bit about his European tour now, because apparently Europe has decided that sure, the U.S. should stay out of everything, and we're going to try to help Ukraine on our own. I'm all for watching how this goes, because this is going to be hilarious if that's what they think is going to happen, is the European Union is going to stand up to Russia. I don't think they have any of the assets needed to actually wage a war with anybody at the moment, because we provide everything. So a little bit crazy there. Eric K for $4.99 over on the YouTube side. FBI whistleblowers came forward a while ago. Evidence has been being destroyed since November. Well, yeah,
I don't know why they waited until November to start destroying things. You would think, you know what I mean? If it's something that you don't want released, get rid of it quick.
Well, I guess if you thought that Biden was going to continue through Kamala, then you wouldn't need to necessarily be actively destroying everything. But the second Trump gets elected, then yeah, they've got months to get rid of everything before he's actually in office. Gauche, his show is
Tuesday at 8:30 Central.
Yeah, on Mad's new channel.
Called Mad's new channel. Boy, it's been a struggle, this new channel launch, man.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, because I've been thinking about, I'm like,
what, a month and a half?
Yeah, something like that. But still, I probably because I was grinding more on the first, I was going on all kinds of different live streams. Now I'm like, I'll go on your thing, I guess, whatever. I don't do nearly as many guest spots.
You've been doing some guest spots. Well, but this
doesn't really count because
you're just hanging out with people that you always hang out with. Jaffo, didn't a NATO country turn away one of our subs from refueling?
Oh, did they?
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool.
One of the countries basically said, yeah, you can't refuel here. However, because they're pissed off at Trump. The funny thing is, it's a nuclear sub, so the diesel engine, or it's just the backup diesel. So
Oh.
the nuclear sub is powered by the nuclear reactor. So sure, they needed to fill up the backup, but I don't know. It's just kind of crazy that for the first time in NATO's history, a country has turned away one of our subs and said, nope, you can't do anything. So it's like Europe is actively trying to piss us off at this point. And the funny thing about it is Europe is so busy taking it in the back end from all the Islamists moving into Europe that I don't think they get to tell us how anything should be going right now. We are still the world leader and we're still the military power in the world. And they are completely falling apart every day, trying to appease the people that they have let into their country. So it's a little bit insane for Europe to virtue signal at us. All in all, I think it's time to pull out of NATO completely.
Yes, I agree.
Shouldn't have once the USSR fell, that was the time to pull out of NATO. There's no reason to have it around. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was it. No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. And Chad's right. It's going to be great if they keep going along this road. The tariffs that Trump is going to slap on all the European countries and the EU is just going to be hilarious. People still haven't figured out who they're dealing with Trump. You would think after the first 4 years, they would understand that he's willing to do everything that he says. That's the thing with Trump. In order to negotiate the way he negotiates, starting at the highest point and trying to let it de-escalate down, he has to be willing to do the thing that is at the highest point. I mean, he be perfectly willing to take over Gaza and just be like, yep, we're turning it into a vacation center or, a vacation spot. I'm sure he was willing to do it, but he knows if he starts there that somebody's going to step in and be like, no, we don't need to do it that way. We'll pay for it. Let's keep America out. But he has to be willing to do the thing that he says he's going to start with. And he's perfectly willing. It's what worked with North Korea. It's what has kept everybody kind of acting on their best behavior when he's in office. And it's how he's going to end a lot of these things. So go ahead.
Oh no, go on. Sorry. I don't know if you remember me talking earlier about the about the Australian thing, but I found it and I'm gonna email it to myself to bring it up.
Okay.
But
while you're doing that, Mod Eric K over on the Rumble side for $1. Europe, NATO will still fund Ukraine. We will still be paying for this war. Yeah, they're going to try to continue to fund it, but 70% of NATO's funds come from us. If we pull out, then they have no funding. Zelensky literally went over there the day after and was like, yeah, we need 250 billion. Europe, step up. And I think UK Starmer said, we've made an agreement for the next 6 years to pay $3 billion. I can't remember if it's per year or $3 billion total, but that is not the 250 billion that Zelensky thinks that he's going to get from Europe. I don't think they have the ability to give him $250 billion.
no,
The amount of printing they would have to do is going to drive their inflation skyrocketing and cripple Europe even more. So they're in a bad situation.
And we've been seeing this across the board. Countries keep acting like they can do us, but they can't. And it's mostly from like their equivalent to our left or whatever, that they think that, oh well, if the US isn't going to fund the USAID or whatever, we'll pick up the slack. So I'm sharing a
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah. So
I'll
this
have it
is
up in just a sec. Okay.
Yeah, this is Australia. You weren't able to tell by
Minister, Donald Trump's U.S. aid funding freeze stop work order alongside the global gag order and stopping UNRWA funding is, of course, a callous political attack on the international human rights, which will
On the human rights, it's such an attack.
cost lives, inflict suffering, and result in the closure of vital health and gender equity programs in the global south. And it will be a catastrophic blow for the Pacific and Southeast Asia and Gaza. I had read this morning that the minister has tasked the department to review all projects in the Pacific and Southeast Asia funded by U.S. foreign aid that has been frozen by Donald Trump. Minister, have you also spoken to your counterpart in the U.S. about the impacts of freezing aid and urged them to reverse this terrible decision?
Urge them to, yeah, Australia, come in here and try to tell us to reverse some shit. Get fucked.
Senator, in relation to the decisions of the Trump administration to pause or freeze and review, and I'd just emphasise that we're obviously in a process of review. I personally have not yet engaged with Secretary Rubio on those matters.
Yeah.
Obviously, there is a pause in place.
So I was asking not about the U.S. review. I know it's a 90-day freeze. I was asking about the department's review that the minister has tasked you with, looking at projects which will be impacted. When is that review going to be completed?
So I think, Senator, we've already done an initial assessment on those implications. And then obviously once the 90 days is over from the US.
90 days, a lot of damage would be done, Minister.
A lot of damage.
What I have been hearing from aid organizations is that it will have a disastrous impact.
So the organizations that are no longer funded are telling you how big of a disaster it's going to be if we don't keep giving them money. Shocked, right. I say.
And the programs that she is bringing up, as Jamalama pointed out, the vital gender equity programs.
Yes.
You know, that's what's going to cost lives, is worrying about the gender equity programs.
Here it goes.
I mean, if you have looked at the projects that are being impacted, is the government going to step up, add more funding to those projects? And what is the government going to do about UNRWA funding as well?
It's unrealistic to think that a country of Australia's size could make up the difference in some of the...
You could step up,
well, just, Senator, let me finish. It's unrealistic to think that. And you can shake your head, but, there are a lot of claims on the budget, but, Australia can do what Australia can do, and we will do that.
You can't do what we do. That's the point.
But Australia can't do what Australia... Australia is not a great and global power.
Man, that's how absurd your line of questioning was, Senator, is that you made her...
You made her admit that we're just a tiny little country with very few people with no GDP.
Actually, Senator, our country sucks, so we can't.
Smokey, those are my neighbors.
Those are my neighbors.
It's hilarious that everybody's aid programs depend on the U.S. funding them, and they can't do anything without us just sending money over there to deal with their gender equity problems and their transitionings. Absolutely insane. And yes, I highlighted it, but Australia sounds very much like India right now. That chick did not sound... That was not an Australian accent at all.
Oh, the senator?
That was very much an Indian accent. Yeah, the senator.
You have somebody showing up here in the back.
Special guest popping in. Let me just get the scene set up real quick. We have Michelle from Force of Light Entertainment.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. We've been talking about Zelensky and Epstein and a few other things.
Australia.
Did you pay attention to the Zelensky fight with Trump?
I was like glued to it.
Yeah. What were your takeaways on it? Because we've kind of already hit most of it.
My takeaways were, like, from my understanding of it, especially as you watch like more like than just the clip, is, well, I think that woman's face kind of summed it up when she just put her hands.
Yeah, the ambassador from Ukraine.
Yeah, like, because, like, this should have been, like, a simple deal, sign the mineral deal, eat lunch, photo op, and out, and, like, he just botched it. Like, that I mean, in my opinion, like, he just really messed it up, and then it's funny, obviously, we all know they're gonna do it, but watching the mainstream media, like, somehow paint Trump as the bad guy here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Vance.
And Vance, yeah.
I think they were more upset with Vance, like, how dare you actually speak up to Zelensky? You were just a vice president. And it's like, how dare Zelensky come in and try to overtalk Trump the whole time?
Right?
Yes. Like, he wouldn't stop. Like, he just kept, like, talking. Yeah, it was I was glued to it. It was interesting. I'm not the biggest Zelensky fan, so, you know.
No, we're not either. We were actually talking in conjunction with that about the fact that Ukraine and NATO trying to join together is kind of what set most of this off with Russia.
Mm.
I mean, Zelensky has been a bad actor from the beginning and literally was a bad
A
actor,
bad actor.
before he was president. So, yeah, it's been a crazy week with the way this has gone down, because we were just a couple minutes ago talking about how Europe is reacting, and it's a lot like how Canada has been reacting to Trump, basically saying,
Yeah.
well, fine, we hate you then. You know, you do everything for us, you pay for everything, but we now hate you, so we're just not going to play games with you anymore. And it's like, US is fine with that, I think.
I think we are. Yeah, I mean, I think going back to World War II, I think we're fine.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody has actually liked us since World War II. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, we came in and we helped save the world from itself, but
Twice.
from that time, I don't think anybody
Yeah.
has actually been a true ally. I
And
think
but they
we've
all want
partnered
more
with some
money. They all
countries.
want more funding from the USAID. They're all like, you know what I mean? But they hate us. But they
Yes.
Yeah.
most of the countries wouldn't exist without the funding that we give.
Yes, and then,
Right.
like you said, they hate us, and I even just retweeted someone posted a video from Trump's first presidency where he's talking to, like, the different leaders, like, in Europe, and he's telling them, and it's just like, "Yeah, this is so obvious," but he's like, "If you guys stop buying, energy from Russia, like, if you want us to help defend you from Putin, and then you keep giving him money that
Mhm.
allows him to grow stronger military."
Yeah. I
Well,
I think that we should be done trying to be the good guy for the world and just say why we are investing in certain countries. Now, we're not doing it because we like you or we want to help. We're doing it because it makes sense for us and our defense if
Yes.
we come in and give you a few a few pennies here and there rather than China or somebody else coming in, especially if you have something we want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should stop pretending that we're just being the good guys in the world because it ain't working. Nobody likes us.
No, they all hate us.
Well, and that's also kind of what's happened in the last couple of days. Putin has now come out and said, we have a lot of rare earth minerals. We would be fine with you signing a deal to come and, get them out of the Russian ground, come do exploration and bring some contractors in. And so now Putin is like, hey, I see what's going on. Europe is being Europe again. I'm willing to make deals, since Zelensky is not. So I don't know. Maybe you are pushing two of the more nationalist, populist countries together because the globalist agenda has everybody else kind of tied together, and they don't seem to understand that we are kind of done standing with everybody, and we're going to, especially under Trump, we're going to stand on our own.
Well, and
We don't need them.
you let me know if I'm wrong on this, Brahma, but from what you just told me, I don't know anything of this other than what you just said. I don't see how that would be a bad situation for the US.
Correct. Because I'm not saying being allies with Russia is necessarily a good thing, but being on friendly terms with Russia is far more important, I think, than being on friendly terms with Ukraine. Russia
Well,
is the one that is the other nuclear power, not Ukraine. Ukraine is a completely corrupted country. So is Russia for the most part, as far as the government goes. But I think not making an active enemy out of Russia is not a bad thing.
Well, that's kinda what I was thinking is and even on some level, you know, I know people would be upset with that wording probably because of Putin, but, like, on some level, we have to play nice with Russia. Like, we don't want them cozying up to China and then becoming a powerhouse. So it's just like, I feel like we do have to be smart there, and if he's willing to let us get, you know, vital minerals out, I don't really see that's a bad thing, and then let me know, I mean, do you think there could be any way where if Zelensky stops being ridiculous, could we get a mineral deal out of both countries?
Possibly.
Well,
go ahead.
I think that we do need a different strategy when it comes with Russia, because the red line, that didn't work at all, right? When Obama was like, well, here's a red line, don't cross it. Here's a red line, don't cross it. That's not working. I think that we have to find a balance of not actively being aggressive with each other, meaning Russia and America, but also it's not as if we're going to get in bed with them either. We have to be careful about that as well, because we don't want them to take advantage of us being non-aggressive with them and taking that as weakness. But I think a lot of that has to depend on who is in the White House, you know, for how if it's going to work.
Who's going to use peace through strength versus who's going to just make up fake red lines and then not do anything about it. We've seen the way it goes when you don't do anything about it. So, couple quick super chats. Mod Eric K, Dems are just pissed the Taliban is not getting $40 million a month still.
Gosh.
And P. Noche's helicopter tours. Thank God the damage will be done by then. I didn't get that in a timely manner, so I'm not sure which thing he was referring to, but thank you very much for the super chat. And Pinochet again for $5 over on the Rumble side. Europe has been teetering on collapse. Globalism was intended to level the disparity between the US and Europe. Europe must suffer for their globalism and trying to control society.
Oh, dude, I've never thought about that. They were trying to do like a cap, like in the NFL, like a salary cap.
A salary cap.
It's a good way of wording it.
I did have another clip from Jesse Waters, just some of the fallout from the Zelensky thing. So let's play this one real quick, and then we've got this to talk about. Oh, it's not doing audio, is it?
There we go.
Let's restart it.
There were many remarkable and disturbing things that Zelensky said. He repeatedly rejected President Trump's statement that we should pursue a ceasefire. Right. How could you reject a ceasefire? And you know, he kept saying Europe's doing so much more than us. Well, then what do you need us for? If he's saying Europe's so great, then why are you coming and begging and pleading to us for money and protection and guarantees?
Well, because
President Trump is a peacemaker.
I think the Australian clip kind of sums it up, because they want to be us, but they ain't us.
Right.
And by the way, Stephen Miller is such a cartoonish evil villain in any movie. It makes it so hard, but you're like, I agree with what he's saying, but damn it, there's just something innate, like, you know what I mean? There's just something in me like, I shouldn't trust you. You're going to try to steal the moon.
You're going to try to steal the moon.
Fight for peace. He had peace for 4 years under his previous term. And today we saw what it's like to have a strong leader in the White House, and the whole world saw what it's like to have a strong leader for America. There were many remarkable and disturbing.
So kind of what we've been saying the whole time. How do you reject a peace deal when that is literally the only way you're getting out of this situation?
The moon is mine.
Yeah, like
Nick
that's
Negri.
kind of my thing. What is Zelensky's end goal?
To push Russia completely out of Ukraine altogether.
Completely unrealistic.
Yeah, but that's not realistic. Like
and to get Crimea back, which has been gone since 2014.
I mean, like that first one, that's like if my goal is to be a billionaire, I don't really see that happening in the course of my life realistically. I mean, you got to be real.
Yeah. I don't know if he's literally just doing this at this point to beg for money so that Ukraine keeps getting money. He's out of people to throw at the war.
Yeah.
I think that's his real problem is they're kidnapping people off the streets to send them to the front
I
lines.
saw that video. Yeah.
They're out of people. So the only way they can continue to prolong the war is by getting new boots on the ground.
Yeah, I guess they're hoping that they can get a technology like the technology would be able to make up for the lack of numbers, because if you have drones and stuff, like, you can have a big impact using, without having to have a lot of men.
Yeah.
And are they getting their drones from Iran? Who's getting drones from Iran? Isn't Iran selling drones to people?
I don't know. Chad might.
Chad would know. He keeps up with Iran.
Yeah, he loves Iran.
Big Iran fan.
I think I found the Susan Rice clip, which was the Logan Act violation. Give me just a second and we'll take a look at this. I haven't listened to it yet, but
I haven't either,
so
believe it or not.
This is the interview from MSNBC talking about the meeting with Zelensky. It's reported that Susan Rice, along with Anthony Blinken, Victoria Nuland, and Alexander Vindman, advised Zelensky to stand tall in his meeting with Trump. If true, they're all acting as foreign agents, violating the Logan Act, which we mentioned a little bit earlier. I just didn't have all the names or the clip yet. So let's check this one out and see what Susan Rice
During
has
our
to say.
ongoing coverage, former United States Ambassador to the United Nations, former National Security Advisor to President Obama, Ambassador Susan Rice is here. Ambassador, your reaction.
Well, Nicole, obviously it's a very sad day and an embarrassment for the United States on the world stage. But let's step back and
I don't like
analyze
having my
what's
name
happened
under
here.
her.
I think there's no question that this was a setup. You heard Donald Trump say at the end of that clip you played, this is great television. This was a setup. Volodymyr Zelensky was compelled to agree to a horrible deal.
Yes.
That would have sent Ukraine's minerals to the United States without any concrete security guarantees.
Okay.
And yet, because he was trying to improve a relationship with Donald Trump, he came to Washington, he came to the Oval Office and sat down for a meeting, hat in hand. And soon after he got there, the vice president...
Oh, boy.
Did he seem like he was all that hat in hand?
I mean, they act that he came in and he was like, gee, Mr. Trump, I sure could use your help. If you don't mind, sir. Hee, I'll do a dance. No, none of that happened.
Please, sir, may I have some more porridge?
The United States lit into him and started a confrontation. Now, I've been in countless Oval Office meetings with heads of state, presidents and vice presidents, as National Security Advisor, as UN Ambassador, and in other roles. I can tell you that the Vice President or the Secretary of State or anybody else, they don't jump in, hijack a conversation.
Probably because they didn't like their president as much as JD likes Trump.
Of the President of the United States.
That's because the ones you're talking about weren't bros. These are bros. That's what bros do.
But it's also, we need to start prosecuting the Logan Act. Republicans need to actually start applying justice on that. Because if these four did go to him and tell him, basically stand up to Trump, don't worry, we got your back, they have no backup to get his back. And it's a lot like John Kerry during the last administration, John Kerry going to Iran and telling them things that, that they should be doing to fight against Trump. It's every single time a Republican is in the presidency, the Democrats take it upon themselves to go and try to be ambassadors to the rest of the world against our own presidency. So sooner or later, somebody's got to be taken to court for that. You can't keep letting it happen, because the country can't function with one half of it literally trying to undermine, on the foreign policy side, the actual president.
States. So J.D. Vance did that deliberately. Donald Trump knew what he was going to do. And I think, as he said at the end, because he can't, help himself, this was a setup for the cameras. It was a play to his base.
The thing is, if they were the ones who went to him and said, you need to stand up to Trump, the setup was not JD and Trump setting up Zelensky. It was them setting up Zelensky to cause the blow up and keep the war going.
But above all, it was a play to Vladimir Putin, to show fealty to Vladimir Putin, and to try to humiliate Zelensky. But Zelensky didn't play along with the script, because Zelensky's got dignity and guts, and Zelensky has people that he democratically represents. And as a result, he couldn't sit there in silence as lies were being told about how the war was started, whose responsibility it was, et cetera, et cetera. And he tried to explain what is in fact the case. To suggest that he was not thankful, I can't count the number of times that Zelensky has thanked the American people, the American government, the President of the United States for the critical support that we've provided. It's not about gratitude. It was an effort to humiliate him, to scuttle the U.S.-Ukraine relationship so that Trump no longer.
I wish they could get somebody more charismatic
support.
to complain about Trump.
Not liking Susan Rice?
I zoned out so many times while he's speaking.
Yeah. She's almost done. We'll finish
And
it
to
off real
hand
quick.
U.S. interests and Ukraine and potentially Europe to Putin on a silver platter.
Yeah. She didn't do as much admitting on the Logan Act and that, but the fact that it's been put out there that these four did actually go to Zelensky before this meeting and tell him to
Wait,
stand
but
up.
they're all actively in the government, right? They're actively a part of the House or Senate, whatever.
No.
No, they're not even holding office.
Former ambassador is what.
Okay, well that makes a
Susan
big
Rice is.
difference with the Logan Act, because the Logan Act is is supposed to prevent U.S. citizens from interfering with diplomatic scenarios or whatever with other countries.
Right. They're
Yeah.
not in office.
No.
Pinochet, for $2, we shoot down 20,000 drones with $1 million rockets. You are already in the collapse. Welcome to 5GW.
5GW.
I'm not sure.
The fifth global wave. The fifth 5G network.
5G network.
I heard that one will give you cancer if you're near the towers. Heard it from a flat earther, so it was pretty legit.
Little Chad with his membership chat, celebrating 3 months. Remember, Susan Rice was the one who unmasked Flynn in order to go after him for Logan Act violation during the 2016 transition.
Yeah, that was when he wasn't he was going to be in that position, but wasn't technically in it yet, and was still trying to preemptively get some work done. Fifth generation warfare is yeah. That's a Tim Pool thing. I hear him say a lot.
And little Chad also, the Logan Act is 100% unconstitutional, by the way, and that is why no one has been charged with it, and it is only used as a way to get FBI interviews. Also seems likely. So
seems like Chad should have been on here. He would be good for this show.
Well, he shouldn't take 2-week vacations then.
with his family, of all people.
Yeah, hanging out with your family for 2 weeks is crazy. So, yeah, I mean, we're technically kind of at the end of the show. I know you just kind of joined, Michelle, but we kind of went over everything already. Is there anything you want to wrap up with on your thoughts on Zelensky or the Epstein stuff?
Yeah. So where do you guys land? I mean, this is, I guess, repetitive since you've already covered it, but where do you guys land? Do you think we'll ever get anything?
Oh
On
yeah.
Epstein?
Yeah.
Oh no, no, I don't think. Sorry, I thought we were talking about from Zelensky in the Ukraine, but from Epstein, no. I think if there was any, whatever there was to be seen is destroyed, because that's what you do when you cover evidence. You don't keep it around. You know, that's movie shit. That's what they do in movies. They're like, oh, we can't ever let them see this. Quick, let me put it in this drawer and just lock it with a key. You know, like nobody can bust into it. I think whatever was there is gone.
I mean,
But do you think everybody involved
Yeah.
was involved to the point that they were like, yeah, we need to make sure this gets covered up? Because you got to keep a lot of people quiet. It's kind of like
Mhm.
any other conspiracy, like
Right.
the moon landing conspiracy. How do you get everybody that was a part of it to never say anything about it? And how do you destroy literally every piece of evidence?
Oh, you're asking me how I would go about it? I mean, I guess murder and intimidation is how I would do it. No, I don't know. I don't know how much is going to be. I'm sure there is going to be a more like maybe some more down the road or whatever, but I don't know how much could even be out there at this point that we haven't already seen.
Right. So you think the flight logs are likely the biggest link to what is left of it?
Yeah, I think so.
But do we have the flight logs?
We've had the flight logs for years. It's been out there on Twitter who is on the flights, and the information that came out to all those influencers last week and was released on Twitter is essentially just the flight logs.
Well,
But
then
it doesn't
how-
say who's going to where.
Okay,
There were plenty of times that people flew on his private jet and didn't go to the island.
Yeah. Okay.
So it kind of mixes in people who may not have been involved with stuff with the people that were most likely involved with stuff.
Hmm.
So hard to say. I mean, you can't start calling anybody who flew on the plane guilty, because there were plenty of people that flew on the plane that weren't going to his private island. So
But
it
don't
doesn't
we-
really do anything for us.
But don't we also know, because I know there was Little St. James, there was his place in Florida, New York, there might have been another one, but don't we have like video recordings? Because he had recordings like in all the bedrooms and things of like all his houses, was my
Well-
understanding.
Yeah, everything was wired to cameras.
When the FBI did the raid, I believe it was in Florida, they actually left after they knocked on the door or whatever, went in, and then they're like, oh, we have to go do something. We need, it's actually time for breakfast. We'll be back. And just left them there with all the evidence that he would have had in the house and then returned later. That happened. Like
And
they
that's
gave them.
what the whistleblowers are saying is being actively destroyed at the FBI right now is video evidence. That's what the whistleblower came out to Bondi and said there was 1,200 more pages of evidence, and also video files and voice files.
Is there
So-
any how and two, like how, because like I know you can't, I guess, just fire everyone because then we have no one. I don't know what the situation is here, but like if they are actively in the FBI not doing what the AG says, not doing what Kash Patel says, how are they allowed to just do that? How do you not then like arrest them or something?
That's what needs to start happening, I think.
Yeah.
Arrests and firings. I'm more inclined towards the arrest at this point,
I am
because
too.
firings don't actually punish anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean that's illegal, like to destroy evidence. So I think they should just be thrown in jail.
Well, and the thing is, if this never comes out, then can you really keep Ghislaine Maxwell in
Yeah.
prison for something that apparently nobody else was involved with?
Yes.
You just have victims who were never victimized
Yes.
by anybody because there were no victims.
Right. That's the most of it. I've never heard of pimps without Johns.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
It's
That-
hard to
that's-
sell something to
Yeah.
somebody if there's nobody
Right.
buying.
if there's no Johns, you're just a dude and his group of girlfriends. Like you're just hanging out with the ladies, this ladies' night. If there's no Johns, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's taking it to the ridiculous level that she should be out of prison. We know she should be in prison.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They've never presented a case to us, the American people, that says anything about what was actually going on. It's all accusatory at this
I don't
point.
understand how she was found guilty without having something
Yeah.
showing that there was a transaction done. To have a transaction, there would need to be another party.
Just the testimony of the victims, I think, is all they presented that we got to know about.
Well, if it's just testimony of victims, then what if some of those testimony are saying, "Oh, well, Bill Clinton did it too," you know? Like, why
Well,
would it
and
work
that's where you get
against
the
me, but
that's
not
where you
against
get
Bill?
the UK monarchy involved as well. I mean,
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Yeah, okay, because you brought up a good point. I know you're wrapping up, but if like if you're her attorney, how do you eventually not say, "Well, where's the evidence?" If
Right.
they're like getting rid of it, I mean, I don't get how they can't get her out.
Yeah, you would think on appeal she would be out, because the only thing I can think of is that she actually did make a deal that the information would never come out and she would go to prison just as much for her own protection.
Yeah, because it seems that if you're not careful, you can accidentally
Epstein.
Epstein yourself.
Pinochet for $2 says, Michelle. Oh, nope. That's the wrong one. No, that is the right one. The client list will eventually get out, but the prosecutions of powerful people will fall to the mob since the government can't prosecute. And then he did another one for $2. Michelle, the FBI sat on those videos, and when requested, AG did not get them. That evidence is now fruit of the poisonous tree and can never be used. I'm still not sure.
No, I don't know, but because
Pinochet's been trying to say with that
well,
one.
so the
Why would it be
poisonous
fruit of the
fruit-
poisonous tree?
Yeah.
Because she didn't get the info
Well,
from the FBI.
So the poisonous fruit, what that comes from is the idea of there being probable cause, right? Let's say when I was a cop, let's say that I pulled somebody over and I had no reason to pull them over, right? Whatever I find, whether it's a dead body in the trunk or what have you, or, you know, if I have a search warrant for a gun, there's no reason for me to open up the glove box, okay? Because you don't look for an elephant in a matchbox, right? So if you have no probable cause to be doing what you're doing, anything that comes out of that is poisonous fruit, meaning it cannot be held against against whoever, right? Against the defendant. But I don't understand how them not getting evidence would make it poisonous fruit if they didn't. I'd have to read it.
If they didn't turn it over to the district, to the AG, how is that poisonous at that point? Because it's evidence that's already collected. I would think them releasing the list would be more poisonous.
The only way I guess maybe what he's saying is because they didn't have those videos the first time, so the defense wasn't able to see it. So
you're
therefore,
going on the right path according to what Pinochet is saying.
Okay.
So if the AG requested the whole file and doesn't get the whole file, the defendants also apparently never had access to that file. So you weren't given, like, the defense, you have to turn over
now I get what
certain
he's
things
saying.
to the defense in order for the defense to do an actual
right, because
defense of the case.
Yeah, the defense has access to everything that he had. Yeah.
So, okay, that makes more sense. I was just trying to figure out where you were going.
We got
with
there.
That,
We walked into
Pinochet.
it.
So
we went sideways a little bit, but we got there.
Yeah.
Made a couple stops.
Davina Duckworth, they bring up a good point. Like, if you fully get rid of all the video evidence, how do you blackmail those people anymore? Like, they've kind of given away their power with it too.
Right.
So that kind of makes you. I mean, that kind of makes you wonder: do they all really want to destroy that all? Is there no backup copy? Has no one seen this?
But that's also working off of the idea that there is there is somebody who is in control of all the blackmail, but yet we're still able to find it, to get it. You know what I mean? Because I don't, whatever office in New York, whatever FBI office in New York, it's not as if they can blackmail these people.
Right.
I mean,
but was it maybe a foreign government that was running Epstein?
Huh? Could be. But
That is the other
regardless,
theory that's out there, is that he was an agent of another government.
the FBI has seen this evidence and held on to it and been silent about it. So they're complicit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And
Yeah,
that's why getting Cash and Bongino in there is so important. You've got
By
to
the way,
start cleaning up these agencies.
The majority of the time, I'm not one of those, well, if you were, if you didn't, if you knew this was wrong, then you need to quit your job or whatever, because people have families and stuff like that. However, for this, though, this is one of those things where you have to take a stand and leave, say something, go through the correct channels, make your complaints, and say, hey, this is what's happening in this office. It's dirty. Something needs to be done. If you stay, you're complicit as well at any level.
Well, especially now, because like you said, you do have families now, you could probably get promoted, because if you go to Cash and say, hey, look, these are the people that are doing this, like let's deal with these people. My point is you now have someone you could actually go to and not just get crushed yourself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. You have to step up when it's a scenario like that,
Well, specifically in the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a journalist who, years before any of this came out, was prepped and ready to go on the air with the story. And it was either NBC or ABC killed the story immediately.
Mhm.
They're like, nope, we don't care that you've got all the proof in the world. We don't care that he's probably going to be indicted. We are not airing it.
I mean, does that guy want to go on a YouTube channel?
It was a woman anchor who she's still in the media. I just can't remember which one it was. But
did she ever release that big info down when she was at Gitmo? Wasn't she standing outside Gitmo saying, tomorrow I'm going to have a huge release? This wasn't that long ago. And people were like, oh, I wonder what she's going to say. I never heard I guess it wasn't big enough to get to me.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the last time I've seen her. Yeah. I know she's around here somewhere.
But I think that does it for us today, because I'm getting the mean looks. I've gone 20 minutes past. So, yeah, let me get the from Mod Eric K over on Rumble. For $1, Mad always planted the dead bodies and guns in the right place.
And I've never denied it. No, I'm denying it.
Well, Michelle, what do you got coming up this week?
Let's see. We've got, I'm going to be doing the review for the new Daredevil show that they're actually saying is good. And then, let's see, our first time watch reaction of Major Pain is coming out.
Oh, I love that movie.
It was fun. It was cute.
And Ryan is correct. It was ABC journalist Amy Roback.
Right. And I was thinking of somebody
you were
else.
thinking of Catherine Herridge, who used to be at Fox before she was at NBC, and then they cut her out, I think. So
if she still has all the info, why doesn't she release it? Like, there's lots of means of releasing it now.
It's everything that she had has come out at this point, I think.
Okay.
About Epstein. So I did watch you guys' review of Scent of a Woman last week.
Oh yeah.
So that one was good. That's one of my favorite movies.
That movie is so good.
What, Mad?
No, I don't like
You
it.
don't like the movie Scent of a Woman, or you just don't like the scent of a woman?
That's fun. That's good. Both.
I thought Pacino chews up scenery in that, but it's in
in everything.
Pacino way.
The best was Devil's Advocate. He hit his peak. Al Pacino in this.
Al's good.
Slightly blasphemous movie, but he does do a good job in it. What do you got coming up, Mad?
Tuesday, 8:30 Central. We're going to be talking about Talking with Ghost. The girlfriend will make her first appearance on the new channel, and she has a crazy story about a Ouija board. So we're going to be doing all that stuff on Tuesday. We have some great episodes that people have missed. Basically, everyone. Hugh Glass. We talked about Hugh Glass. We talked about the Real Crocodile Dundee, competitive tickling, and a dolphin and a lady that lived together for a little bit. Ended well. But yeah, so definitely worth a rewatch. Yes, yeah, Peter the Dolphin, poor guy. Just fell in love with the wrong chick.
Yep. It happens. As for me, I've got just the usual stuff. I'll be on comics on Monday and Thursday. I'll be on with Matt on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, this is an on week for the Christian panel. Don't know what we're talking about yet, but we will be doing one of those, followed by the midweek hump with Shags. Then Friday over on Ascend and Art. Little Chad, I believe, is back. So
Who
Ascend and
knows?
Art, we'll have him this week. Saturday night, Bourbon and Boarding, and then back here Sundays. And Chad should be back for that. And then we'll see about continuing with this, having a little bit more of a panel at times. Maybe it'll start with me and Chad, and then second 45 minutes or so, we can do a little bit of panel stuff, because I know it's early for Mad. I mean, it's early for me, but Mad was tired this morning. So thank you for joining us, Michelle. We'll get you on for a full episode sometime. We'll do a little bit
Yes.
more planning. But
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
yeah. And thank you, Mad, for co-hosting the past couple weeks with us. And
I've always been the
Slender for
co-host.
trying. Yeah, you have. So hope everybody has a great Sunday, and we will catch you next time.